this? No. Is she done? No. She's watering the flowers. Yeah, she's watering the flowers. There they go. Oh, yeah. No. Oh, now those ones over there. There they are. There they go. How many more flowers do we have? How many do we... I don't even know what we have around here. Let's do it. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Ryan.
What'd you do this weekend?
I went outside.
I did a little of that myself.
Didn't watch a thing. Didn't even charge my phone. I just kind of hung out in nature.
Did you just stare at the sky, Tim, like a zombie?
We did stare at the sky like zombies. After it got dark, somebody brought a telescope out there, and we took turns staring at the extremely bright moon and blinding ourselves with the telescope. We saw the space shuttle go over. Sorry, the space station go over.
That's pretty cool in front of the moon.
No, not in front of the moon, but it was pretty visible and obvious as to what it was.
Were you able to zone in on any of the planets?
No, we didn't. We didn't stay up late enough for the moon to go below the horizon, so it was a little too bright for the planets. And then in the morning, we were planning on getting up early in the morning and doing that, but then it was cloudy in the morning, so that was the end of that fun. But yeah, it was also extremely brisk out. Got down to -4 Celsius.
Yuck.
So the water froze in our trailer and things like that. But, it's all part of the fun.
Well, I always have a lot of respect for the people who actually get out and do the camping on the May long weekend in this country. Those are some hardy people. I've been one of those people a time or two, but I've always lucked out. So you're a lucky guy, man.
Yeah, it didn't even snow.
No. I know it snowed for some people I know that went camping.
Yeah. I heard 30 centimeters, which is what? A third of a foot? Or that's a foot. That's a full foot. Yeah. That'd flatten the old tent.
That would. Yeah, that would. Then have a bad time.
And then in the one morning, I snuck off with my daughter and we found a TV and we did watch Army of the Dead.
So that's what we're here to talk about. I too watched Army of the Dead. I watched it twice because I'm a trooper.
That's dedication there.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought we'd do a little quickie spoiler-free review. Are you down?
Okay, let's do a spoiler-free review.
Okay, a little recap here. So Army of the Dead. I thought this was going to be a follow-up to the 2004 Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead. And that's not really the case here. This is its own separate thing, I think.
I feel a franchise coming on.
It could be. It could be a franchise. It already kind of is. Like, I think there's like a, it's his zombie world. There are kind of threads of it, like we're going to try something different on the show. I think this time we're going to do spoilers at the end. So we're going to try to not talk about spoilers while we're doing this initial discussion of it. But I think everyone's kind of seen, if you've seen the preview, you know that it's got the same things, the Zack Snyder fast moving zombies and action-y stuff going on, lots of fire, lots of explosions, lots of crazy stuff. That's kind of part and parcel with the Zack Snyder movie. So I think it's kind of, you hit the nail on the head. I think there could be a spot for maybe another Zack Snyder zombie movie in the future if this one's a success. I know Dawn of the Dead was certainly a success and kind of kicked his career off. But what'd you think of this one, Tim?
Well, I read somewhere that this was a zombie heist film.
Mm-hmm.
So I immediately went to zombies robbing banks, but that's not the case. But it has a lot of it hit all the notes, the typical zombie notes. They assembled a crack team, they infiltrated a zombie infested city, they had to get the money, there was a time limit, they were on a timer.
There was the human drama element, are the people being the danger, are they bigger danger than the zombies? We don't know.
I think the one thing that was kind of interesting was the shamblers, as they called them, were not really the main threat at all.
No.
And we won't go any farther down that line right now. But they were just like, shamblers? Yeah, whatever.
No. So Without giving the whole plot away, what was one of your favorite things?
One of my favorite things.
Yeah,
There was quite a few of them, but I liked the tiger.
the tiger. Yeah, the tiger was great. There's some good scenes with the tiger. Standout stars. What'd you think of Dave Bautista?
I think he did pretty good.
Yeah,
I think
I
it was a nice touch for him to have his glasses in there, showing his human side there. Maybe a little short-sighted or far-sighted. We never really found out. Probably
yeah,
far-sighted.
I noticed that too. He's looking. He was looking at some stuff when he was reading. I think they were reading glasses. So that'd be what, like he's like farsighted.
Yeah.
It's farsighted. I don't know. It's been a while since I wore glasses, but yeah, I kind of like that too. I noticed that he always had him on, and he'd look at him with things like that. Guy is. I was reading an article. I think it was like an interview with him prior to the movie coming out, and he said that he's kind of been looking to get a starring role in a movie. And we're all familiar with him from the Marvel movies, and he's got a couple of smaller starring roles, and he wanted to be in a big action movie or whatever, and no one would let him do it except for this movie. So this is why, one of the reasons why he took it. He just thought it'd be a good vehicle for him to star in. And I thought this is the kind of thing that definitely I'd like to see more of him in. Anything that he can do that's kind of like this, I think he really kind of excelled at it. He did kind of have he did kind of have a fun kind of human side, and the movie's kind of got a fun, hearty feel to it. Yeah, it was, I don't know, he was great. There's another guy in there that I've seen a whole bunch of times. He popped up in the Terminator TV show, the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yeah.
He was the bad Terminator guy, Garrett Dillahunt, who's kind of playing a sleazy corporate guy. And
yeah, he was the bad corporate guy.
Yeah, he was kind of cool too. And then there was the helicopter pilot, which was Tig Notaro, and Tig Notaro, I think is her name. How you say it? I actually looked up how to say it, and I already screwed it up. So apologies, Tig Notaro. She was really good too, and really funny. So I don't know if you knew this or not, but she wasn't even present when they filmed that movie. Did you know that?
Yeah, I read that after the fact. I think you sent me the article.
It's kind of crazy.
Me into that.
It's so weird. I don't even think she actually got to meet Dave Bautista, and they've got a few scenes together.
But most of her scenes were totally by herself, and that makes sense now.
Yeah, she's a really good comedic relief to the movie too. Like just when things get really serious, she's always there to kind of let it back down again. But I don't know. All in all, it was a fun watch for me anyway. I did do it twice, like I said, and we'll get into a little more crazy details down the road. But would you say it's worth watching? Would you recommend this?
Let's go at a 13.6. I'd give it an 11.2.
An 11.2? That's high praise. That's high praise. I'm trying to put that into a percentage in my head, but I can't do the math that quick. I would say, well, I was on Letterboxd and I gave it out of 5 stars, I gave it a 3.5, which is that means I liked it. That means I liked it. I didn't love it. I'm not gonna shout to the heavens in its honor, but I did like it. And I watched it a second time, and I was tempted after the second time to bump my star rating up 1/2 a point.
Oh, yeah, that would have made it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I would have made it a 4 out of 5.
That's pretty close to 11.2 out of 13.6.
Yeah, I'm a hard marker though. Like I am a hard marker.
I tend to go straight for I love it or I hate it. There's no gray ground with me for movies.
Yeah, I get it. I get into the gray ground. Like I kind of get into that where I'm like I liked it, and I think I'm gonna rewatch. I think if I went to a 4-star, I'm already shitting on myself here because I'm already questioning my grading value here. If maybe I shortchanged this movie a bit, I think I was a little bit too hard on it just for stuff, I guess. Maybe we'll suss it out. We'll get deep into the psychology of it later in our in-depth spoiler review. So I guess in keeping with the zombie theme of this, we'll move on from the review. We both liked it. We both I don't know, I'd recommend it to someone. I did today. It's a fun time. But we're going to talk about some more zombie stuff. So little personal notes, I guess. So, what was the first zombie movie you ever watched, Tim?
Well, that would be Return of the Living Dead. And that was
Oh,
actually one of the first horror movies I've ever watched, too. Although it was kind of a comedy. I watched it shortly after it came out. We rented it on VHS, I think in would have been 86, I believe. So at that time, there was a bunch of us teenagers, and we were in the middle of nowhere, and there was no indoor plumbing in the location we were at, and there was no flashlights. And the outhouse was quite a distance away from the building we were watching these horror movies in. So after watching 3 or 4 horror movies, that one included, let's just say that trips to the outhouse were kind of freaky in the dark, in the bushes. But I think I watched that movie 4 times that year. And
so
it's got all those key elements, like the army sneaking, chemical agent, basically bodies soaked in chemical agent that can turn you into zombies. And of course, somebody finds those barrels because they're just left lying around because it's the army.
I think I've seen this one. It's like kind of got a comedic element where is it the one where the zombie gets on the radio and is like, "Send more cops."
I think that might have been number 2.
Oh, okay. Maybe I've seen the
Maybe.
second one.
I can't remember for sure now. I don't remember much about the second one, but the first one, they were in a mortuary.
Oh, okay.
They managed to contaminate the entire graveyard, and then, hilarity ensues.
I might have to give that one another go. I don't think I remember it if I've seen it. I probably have it marked down that I've seen it somewhere, but
well, what about your early memories of zombies?
Mine was on a Halloween. I want to say it was in like 1992, so I would have been like 13ish, I think. And I actually got sick on Halloween, so I couldn't go do Halloween stuff. I think I was still into that at the time. And I couldn't go to school, so I was at home eating chicken soup, and Much Music played the original Night of the Living Dead, and that was the first zombie movie I'd seen ever, and I loved it. It was so it just had such a creepy vibe, and I liked that it was black and white, and it just hooked me. And after that, I'd consume just about anything with the zombies. I think it gave me nightmares too. Like I was sick, and I think I might have had the flu or something like that. And I always get like weird sleepwalky nightmares and stuff when I get sick. And I think I had some that night, but it really stayed with me. And that was my first one. So yeah, it kind of put the hooks in me. And then when I got into my 20s, I went through another zombie movie craze, which would have been about the year 2000-ish, 2001. I wound up buying all the as many of the original George Romero movies as I could on VHS, and watched all those, Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead. And then by the time I got through all that stuff, they brought out Land of the Dead, so I got to actually see that one in the theater when it came out. Which ones have you seen? Have you gone out of your way to see any of them in the theater, or
Resident Evil movies I've seen in the theater? But maybe are we going to jump into our list of 6?
We could. So you've got a list of your top 6 zombie movies. Are you going to go from number 1 to number 6, or are you going to go?
I'll go from number 6 to number 1. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, you go.
Okay, so Resident Evil would be my number 6.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because it gave us these incredible scenes of a hallway with laser beams, which dices people up into cubes. And that has been used everywhere since then. That's one of the first times we saw that. Has nothing to do with zombies, but that movie, had a holographic AI, laser beams, zombies, weird monsters, and it was all based on a virus that was created in a corporate lab. So the Umbrella Corporation, which as luck would have it, we have a real Umbrella Corporation in this world, and it's an insurance company, is an evil corporation.
Is there really an Umbrella Corporation that's an insurance company?
Yeah, well, and they run things like Primerica and,
Oh, yeah. Okay. I've heard of them.
Yeah, the Umbrella Corporation.
I guess. What's your number 5?
Number 5, Pontypool. Have you seen this movie?
I know of it. It's a Canadian zombie movie with, I want to say, that Billy guy. He's a Scottish comedian dude from that guy, Billy Connolly. Is he in it? No, he's in the Fido one. I got them all mixed up.
Stephen McCaddy is Grant Mazzy.
Okay. No, I've not seen this one.
Okay, so basically, we when we join this show, Grant Mazzy, who is a shock jock, is headed to the radio station, right? And he's got a really good voice, actually. His radio personality is great. The basic plot of this movie is it's not a regular virus that's causing zombieism. Language is actually infecting people's brains and turning them into what you would call mindless rioters who want to eat people. So if the wrong words get spoken to you in English, your brain gets twisted up and you go zombie. It's quite a different plot. It's well worth watching.
Well, I might have to go back. Not go back, but just give that one a watch. I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique take on the whole thing, with language being the virus. Okay, so next one, Return of the Living Dead was number 4. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
Toxic barrels, army. What else to know about that one? The guys, of course, I guess one thing is that somehow the actors in this first Return of the Living Dead are in Return of the Living Dead 2, even though they died in the first one. And it's like a strange what's going on here moment when the two actors realize this. So they have that little subplot in there of like returning to hell or whatever. Army of Darkness. Not really a typical zombie movie.
Yeah.
More comedy, but there's enough zombies in it, right? There's Evil Dead walking around.
There are, yeah.
I would hope that everybody's familiar with Army of Darkness, but maybe everybody isn't.
If they're not, we just put the bug in their ear.
So give me some sugar, baby. Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, Shaun of the Dead.
Number 2 is Shaun of the Dead. Again, everybody should be familiar with this movie. One of my favorite parts of that movie is right at the very beginning, before any of the zombie stuff has happened. He goes out on the street and a bunch of people are just stumbling around like zombies because it's Monday morning and they just got up and they haven't drank their coffee yet. And I thought that was funny is that later, when they turn into zombies, at first he can't tell the difference because people are kind of like zombies already.
And he's still walking around like one too.
Yeah, exactly. And number 1, The Girl with All the Gifts. That's my number 1 favorite movie.
Really? I've seen this one.
You've watched it?
Yeah, I have watched it. That's a Netflix one where there's like they have them all in a classroom sort of thing, right?
Yeah. I read the book first and I really liked the book. And then one day I was stumbling through Netflix and I'm like, wait a minute. So since then I've watched that movie 3 times. I've forced other people to watch it with me. It's also a non-standard zombie movie.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of got its own thing going. I really like that one. It had a good, thing going for it as far as Netflix films go. I just watched another Netflix film last night, and they've got kind of a thing where they'll find like a concept that's really cheap to make that maybe doesn't have a whole lot of scenes, but and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And that one for me was one that really worked too. It just hit the good notes. That was a good movie. I liked it. Number 1, hey, that's high praise, man.
Well, you got to go with the ones that stick in your head, right?
Yeah, that one does. I might have to rewatch that one too, just to kind of refamiliarize myself. I was actually looking. I did some before we did this show. We've been talking about doing this one for a few weeks now, and when I was going to make my list, I really tried to study hard for this. So I threw on some some of the older zombie fare that was in my kind of brain, but my list came out totally different than yours for the most part, which is kind of cool. But I'm going to give it a shot. You want to hear them?
Sure.
All right. So my number 6 one was this one that we just watched, Army of the Dead. I thought it was kind of a cool take. It kind of did some things with the genre that we haven't seen before, brought in some new genre elements, kind of played with the whole mythos of the zombie world and had a little bit of fun along the way. And then followed up by that with my number 5 is the precursor to this movie, Dawn of the Dead, which I saw. This was the first Zack Snyder movie I saw on my birthday. So whenever he'd bring a movie out, it was always around, March mid-March when my birthday is. So I'd always, every couple of years, I'd get a chance to, or I'd get to go see one of his movies. And he did this one, and then 300, and then Watchmen. So this was the first one I saw, and I kind of fell in love with it. It's got a script from James Gunn, who directed Guardians of the Galaxy, and some really funny actors in there. There's some really cool scenes and concepts and stuff like that. Some of them carry over to this one, but I really liked it. For being a remake, I thought it was great. If you're going to do a remake, I think this is kind of the way to go. It was good enough to have made my list. For my number 4, I hit the Sam Raimi thing. So it wasn't Army of Darkness. It was the one before. I got Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Yeah. I had seen Army of Darkness. I begged my parents to go see that movie when it was out in the theater, and I never got to. And I still haven't gotten a chance to see it in the theater. And one day I know I'll get the shot. But after that came out, I had no idea that it was a sequel to something until one of my friends at school told me. So then I searched out the VHS tape for Evil Dead 1, which I liked. And then I saw Evil Dead 2, which is a pretty much direct remake of Evil Dead 1, but funnier. And I just loved it, man. Like, I love that movie. I watched it every couple of years. And it's just such a Three Stooges weirdo hoot.
Yeah.
You know,
there's that moment where he's in the room and he's just, the rocking chair is rocking, and then the deer starts laughing, and then he's laughing, and everything's laughing. It's a classic moment.
It's just so bizarre. It's just so bizarre. And then for my number 3, I've got my original zombie movie, Night of the Living Dead. I think it's late 60s that they made that movie. It just creeped me out so badly that it got a high spot on my list. My number 2, I have 28 Weeks Later.
28 Weeks Later. I've seen 28 Days Later.
You've never seen 28 Weeks Later?
I don't think so.
No?
28 Days Later almost made it to my list.
I was kind of tossing up between the two of them, but I actually think I like 28 Weeks Later just a little touch better. And I'll tell you why. I got a couple reasons. They got really good actors. Like, if you went back and looked at the cast of this movie, it's a kind of a holy shit. They've got Idris Elba is in there. They've got Rose Byrne, and they've got Jeremy Renner are the stars. Oh, and the guy who played Begbie in Trainspotting, Robert Carlyle.
Really?
Everyone. He's really good. And it's got a little bit.
Back to Trainspotting, are we?
Back to Trainspotting. We talked about Trainspotting twice now in 2 shows,
and I still haven't seen it.
It's kind of fun, but it's not. We won't talk about it. It might be a zombie movie too. It could be. But anyway, it's got him. So I was going to see this movie, and I was at work. I was working at this place that was kind of close to a movie theater. So I was heading out after work to go see this movie. And 2 of my friends, who are brothers, they were like, "Oh, are you going to see a movie this week?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go see this zombie movie, 28 Weeks Later." And they were like, "Oh yeah, I like zombie movies." And they'd only ever, I was like, what have you seen? And they're like, "Well, I liked Resident Evil." They're like, "Is it anything like Resident Evil?" And I said, yeah. It's got kind of like it's about a virus that gets loose and stuff. It's got the same elements. And they're like, "Is it pretty intense?" And so here's the thing. My definition of pretty intense and their definition of pretty intense, I found out, were really far apart. They were extremely far apart.
That tends to happen.
So we're watching this movie, and then if you haven't seen it, there's a scene where someone is strapped onto a gurney, and a person comes in infected by the zombie virus, which happens really quickly, and they can't do anything about this person being infected in the room with them. They're strapped to a gurney, and the next thing you know, this person's pressing their thumbs into this other person's eyeballs. And it's like, I looked over at my pals and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I felt so bad taking these guys to see this movie. They were not prepared for this, and they did not like it. They don't like that. Not everyone likes that kind of stuff, right? And I was just like, I came out of there going, "What's wrong, guys? Like, what happened?" So it got a high spot on my list. I've seen it freak people right out. And my number 1 pick is the original Dawn of the Dead. It was my follow-up to the Night of the Living Dead. I bought the VHS tape, and I just kind of like everything about this movie, except for, I wish it was, excuse me, made in a little bit more of a modern time where they didn't just have to paint everyone like this weird shade of blue. It was kind of crazy. That's my only gripe with the movie. It's got kind of like it's kind of got this perfect balance of what they did already in the first Night of the Living Dead movie, and then kind of expanded on it, where it kind of takes a decent look at kind of like the I don't know, like the mall culture or whatever that people were flocking to in the late 70s, early 80s, and that we just kind of, we've seen that kind of expand kind of as we've aged into, the online shopping thing. And there's a whole bunch of tropes in there that it kind of like, it was the first one to do those and really have kind of a critique at the same time of a whole bunch of everything, a critique of the news, a critique of, consumerism, just kind of like these little micro critiques that I found really interesting, paired with all the people that were in the movie. And I actually met the star of this movie, Ken Foree, at Comic-Con San Diego in 2004. I was walking on the street and I recognized him from the movie, and I struck up a conversation with him, and he was just the nicest guy. So it hits my number one for that. And I had a good time with Mr. Foree there. So,
well, you've got a lot of classics on your list, and I've got a lot of oddballs.
Well, I wouldn't have it any other way. That's what I love. That's what I love about top 6 lists. We were going to do a top 10 list, but we decided to go with 6.
Okay, so what movies would never make it on a list for you? Zombie movies.
Okay.
Unless it's a list of the worst.
Well, before we get into this, because I feel like there's one I want to avoid, so we won't talk about it. Or I'm going to try not to talk about it unless you talk about it. So I'm going to give one honorable mention. So when I was doing my zombie homework here, I watched this Italian zombie movie called Zombie, and it's actually a loose follow-up, or it was kind of like an unofficial sequel to Dawn of the Dead, the original Dawn of the Dead. And it is a terrible movie, but there are some extreme things going on in this movie. There's a zombie versus a shark. Underwater shark. It's not a land shark. It's not like a flying shark. It's not a Sharknado. The zombies in the water, the sharks in the water, and there are no bubbles coming from the zombie's mouth. And then someone gets a splinter through the eye as a kill. And I'll tell you, man, I'm a hard guy to freak out, but that did it. That did it for me. So that's my honorable mention. I don't know if you have an honorable mention that you wanted to sneak in.
One that shouldn't be on the list?
No, well, one that you liked but didn't make the list.
Okay. I want to like this one, but I didn't. Zombeaver.
Zombeaver?
Yeah. Have you heard of that one?
I have heard of that one. It's on my list to watch because I like Bill Burr, and I think he's in that movie.
Well, it wasn't the worst movie ever. It shouldn't be on the zombie list. I don't know. It's got a good premise, but maybe I was just in the wrong mood to watch it that day.
When's a good day to watch Zombeaver?
I don't know. Whenever you're ready to watch a bunch of people splashing around in the swamp being attacked by beaver zombies.
Well, I know what I'm doing after this podcast now. Zombeaver. Okay, so we've got zombie movies that should have stayed buried is what we're going to talk about here. For me, it's World War Z, dude.
Yeah. See, there was some scenes in World War Z that I really liked. I liked the actual zombies when they were stationary. When they're not running around, when he was disguised from them, they were freaky.
You're talking like the like near the end there when he's in the facility, like i.e. the only scary part of the whole show.
Yeah, exactly. That part of the show I liked.
So I don't know.
But there's so many logical flaws to the rest of the movie that it made no sense whatsoever.
Well, my biggest... Okay, I'll tell you what my story about watching this one. My friend got passes to go see it. And so we got to see it a week or whatever, 3 or 4 days before it came out. And when we were leaving the theater, we always stay till the end credits are over. And then they interview people as they were kind of leaving the theater. So we caught a couple of people being interviewed and they loved it. And I've read the book that it's based on, which is nothing like what the movie turned out to be. Nothing. I think maybe that Brad Pitt's character has the name of the character who's the main guy in the book or whatever. But nothing that happened in the book that made the book cool happened in this movie at all. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so disenfranchised watching this movie that I was just left flabbergasted when I walked into the theater. The other thing that kind of bothered me is at the time, we've kind of had a resurgence of rated R movies. And when that movie came out, there was kind of like this taboo about making a rated R movie. Like if you were going to make a rated R movie, then that would take most of your audience away and no one would go see it and it wouldn't make any money. So if you wanted to make a rated R movie at the time, you had to make like a little indie movie or whatever. No big budget movies were going to be rated R. So they kind of pulled their punches with this movie. And I think if you make a zombie movie where people are eating each other, you're already in that territory. Okay. Like just make it rated R and show us how horrible this world can be. It just sucked. And I don't know. There were some moments that should have been rated R in that movie. Well, it's one of those things where you can like have a thematic element that's really kind of like ballsy, but you can't show it. So like you're going to say when they cut the lady's arm off, mm-hmm. But they didn't really show the cutting of the arm off. They just showed the aftermath. So that's how you skirt around getting the R rating. But for the most part of the movie, you'd see the zombies running around and it was just like a big anthill, right? And until the end, when you finally got a sense of how scary the zombies were and that they were actually zombies in the first place. Otherwise, it was just this kind of weird horde. So I don't know. That's my shit kicking of that movie here. So, oh man, I do anything not to watch it. But it's your turn. You pick one. We're gonna beat one up. All on you.
One we're gonna beat up. Well, that was one of my picks actually.
Darn.
But not for the same reasons. I have a problem with movies that don't hold up, that aren't consistent with themselves or make zero sense. So in that particular case, they get an expert to go to the site of where the first zombie was. For what reason? Like, what's that going to do?
Well,
nothing. It'll do nothing is what it'll do. You know, when they needed to make a virus or a vaccine for this recent virus that we've actually got in the real world, did anybody go to China and go, okay, well, we need to go to the site of the thing so we can make the vaccine there? No, they didn't do that. They just made one. You don't need to go and then there's more than one thing that happened later that makes no sense. Like, for instance, how in the world, when that plane crashed, was the only important person the one that lived?
Yeah, that happens. The only important person and the cool one who just went through hell with their arm getting chopped off.
Yeah. Makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, I could
there's lots more. I haven't watched it recently, but through the movie I was like, come on, guys. Really? Come on, you're stretching it. Come on, stretching it again?
I just want to say for future reference, if you're going to pump fake me with a book that I read and you're going to convert it into a movie, at least read the fucking book. At least read it. A couple pages at least. Maybe ask 10 people who read it what they liked about it and then jump off from there. You know, it was just I don't know if anyone's ever read that book. It's such a good book. And I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was. I kind of read it as just kind of a lark or whatever, just to have something to do while I was at a night shift job. And I wound up really loving it. It's got a whole bunch of really good things, and it's kind of got some. It's kind of written to be funny in parts, but it's got some really good human moments too. And they just skipped all that shit when they made that movie. It was I don't know. There's been there's you're gonna have to pick another one because
Resident Evil 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever hell the last one was. Okay, I really liked the first two, maybe the first 3 of those movies. And then they just started stretching their plot thinner and thinner until the last one they should have just not bothered. Sometimes you've just flogged something until its time is over.
I kind of gave up on watching them after. I couldn't even tell you what number 3 was about. Maybe I watched that one. I can't remember.
Number 3, she had psychic abilities.
Yeah, see, I think I tuned out after 1 or 2.
Yeah. And I could accept the psychic abilities, but they were starting to lose me already there. And then, I don't know. Number 6, it was just painful. The only reason I watched it is because it was free. So... there's a special kind of thing about just a stupid movie, right? Like you just watch a movie, it's going to be stupid, and you just kind of go, well, it's kind of like My Stupid or whatever, right? Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the last time I tried to watch one of these, I was like, you know what, this is just too far beyond what I want to put my time into. So I just kind of stopped. But I don't think I watched I read on one of the latest ones that they hurt a stunt woman really badly, and I think that's the last one. I don't think I even watched that one. But
okay, well, so there's our list of ones that they might as well not have bothered with.
I was really happy.
You got more?
Well, no, I have one, but if I start talking about it, I won't stop for a long time. Whenever people bring this movie up in conversation, I go off and I can't stop myself. It's like kind of a an what do you call it? Like a subconscious awful response. So I'm not even going to tell you what it is. Maybe one day we'll talk about it on the show. Someone will stumble upon um, will stumble upon it by accident, and I'll just go off, and then I'll tell you after. You'll know because I just pop. It's awful. It's one of the it's one of the worst aspects of my personality is I can't hear someone talk about this movie without going off. So I've probably done it to you. I probably subjected you to my vitriol for this show.
But. Oh, maybe I might have just forgotten to pay attention if it was that bad.
Well, you would have laughed. I mean, I like to think that when I do it, it's funny and it doesn't come like I think I've done it so many times now. So because someone will just bring this movie up in casual conversation
just to hear you go.
Well, no, like people, if you've heard my routine once, that's all. That's it. Mm-hmm. So I don't think I'd do it for you a second time because I know you'd just be trying to goad me into popping. But if you haven't heard it before, then I've got my act down now, right? Like I can just tune this thing right in. So I think I can do it without getting, without seeming mad. And I think I can be kind of funny. Like it's my own little comedy routine now, but it's all centered around this one movie. But we won't bring up its name or I'll go off. So yeah. Anyway, that's our list of shit zombie movies. A list of one. Don't watch World War Z. Read the book.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read the book for that?
No.
Oh my God. Can I spoil it for you?
Well, sure. We're almost to the spoiler section of this show now.
Okay, before we get to the spoiler section for the movie, I just want to tell you two things from the book that they left out. So the book isn't actually a story that kind of tracks through. It's this guy going around after there's been a zombie invasion and humanity's gotten through it and people are starting to put their stuff back together. There's still remnants of it that are around, but for the most part, it's contained and everyone's kind of getting back to normal lives after doing all this heinous stuff. So what's happening is the Brad Pitt character in the movie, he's actually a character in the book. And what he's doing is he's going around the world and he's interviewing all these people who survived. So there's these really good individual stories of, say, like a guy who was in the National Reserves or the Army Reserves or whatever. And he was in New York City when the zombie invasion took the whole city over. And there's a really great sequence where they're on this bridge. I don't know if it's like the Brooklyn Bridge or whatever. And all these zombies are trying to get across the bridge and they're trying to keep them from going over the river into New Jersey or whatever it is. And they're shooting these things, but they're not dying and they don't know how to kill them yet. Right. So they totally get overrun there and wind up this guy miraculously survives or something like this. And it's just a really cool sequence. And the next one is they come back to him later in the book after they've figured out how to kill these things. And they've got this big setup in the desert where they put these loudspeakers up and they play Iron Maiden, the Trooper, as loud as they can. And they get all these zombies coming and they've got all these marksmen that are trained to take 1 shot per second, 1 shot per second, 1 shot per second, just snipe zombies the whole time. And if you start losing it, and you start taking more than a second, then another guy comes in and swaps you out. So there's all these little cool sequences like this that I thought maybe they'd pick up on, these really cool things for the movie and maybe incorporate those into the one big long narrative, but they didn't. And I don't know. I'm hoping that one day they might go back and take that thing and make it into a TV show where they can kind of spend an episode per story on one of those guys. I actually think in the book, he does go back to the source of the infection to figure out kind of what happened, or somebody goes back to the source of infection, a scientist or something like that. They go back to it did start in the book. I think it starts in China. It's been a while since I read it, but they go back to it and they figure it out from there. They kind of step it back. I think that might actually be a thing that they do, but I don't know that you'd hear about it so much. Like they would have someone go to the source and try and trace back the cases to the earliest.
Well, they do that, but if you're a scientist with no lab and just some army dudes, it's not going to be very effective, right?
Yeah, they don't send He-Man, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you might send a crack team of scientists maybe to investigate that kind of shit, but not one guy. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Well, do we want to dive in and talk We want to talk we want to get right into the nitty gritty on Army of the Dead here.
Okay.
Are you down? Crack your knuckles.
I'm ready.
Open that sea can door. We're going in.
So there's something about it that you pointed out to me. Was that yesterday?
Yeah.
That it has some of the tropes from Aliens. So then I started thinking about it and realized that it is Aliens. In fact, this is your quote. This is a quote of Ryan Hansen, world famous podcaster and bomb disposal expert. Army of the Dead is to Aliens what Avatar was to Fern Gully. As soon as I saw Avatar, I was like, Fern Gully. The guy basically becomes one of the fairies, forgets that he was marking trees for the big machine to chop down, and then he makes friends with all the fairies. He rides a bat, and then later they're like, how could you? You're on the bad guy's side. And then he has to fight the giant machine that's cutting down the trees.
Mm-hmm.
That was Fern Gully. And also that was Avatar.
That's right.
He even rode a bat. Well, a dragon.
You wouldn't believe it. There's another guy at my door. Hold on a second.
Is it the same guy?
No, it's a different guy. Oh my God. Hold on a second. Oh my God. Every time.
I feel like I'm on the House of Frightenstone.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever watch that show? Somebody
I
would
love
always
that
come
show.
to the door.
Yeah. Yeah. And my dog, he just keeps going. He's still going. He's so pissed off at this guy.
Is it the same guy?
No, it's a different guy. Last week it was a lawn guy, and this week it's an alarm guy. You know what I gotta do is I gotta be that guy who makes a sign. Or you know what I'll do is I'll put a big biohazard sign and just say that we're all infected in here, like a zombie plague or something.
I have a sign up that says no trespassing. Trespassers will be violated.
Oh, gross.
Anyway, let's get back into it.
You bet.
So, similar as Avatar was to Fern Gully, Army of the Dead is to Aliens. I made a list.
Okay.
Well, first of all, we've got a messed up main character who has nightmares, but they gender swapped him. So Ellen Ripley, who's Sigourney Weaver, wakes up from a horrible nightmare when her rescue cat suddenly senses that she's infected with a chest-bursting alien, and she wakes up haunted by the horrors of the past. Now, I've only watched the movie once, but did not Scott Ward have a nightmare at the beginning where he was forced to put down his infected wife, or was he just remembering it?
Well, he had a flashback of that.
Yeah. And he's haunted by the horrors of the past.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. We have an infestation. Aliens have turned the denizens of an entire space colony into single-minded killers.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have an infestation. Zombie bites have turned the denizens of an entire city into single-minded killers. We have a ticking clock. So in Aliens, it was the fusion reactor. They had a set period of time that they had to get out of there or else. And of course, in this latest movie, we have the army who's about to shoot a nuke into the middle of the city, and they have a limited amount of time, and they know exactly how much time it is. It's not very much.
Until they don't.
Yeah, exactly. The ride out is broken. So, spoiler alert, we did say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Aliens, the spacecraft gets taken out by an alien and crashes, right? So then they have to call for another one because they're trapped there. And in this movie, in Army of the Dead, the helicopter shits the bed, but the pilot manages to somehow piece it back together. Miracle of miracles.
Well, it got up there and then it just kind of sat for a while.
Yeah.
So, it's possible it just needed a fuel filter. And
maybe.
And then
there's a lot of black smoke coming out of it, though.
Yeah, when you see
when parts fly out, you usually think, okay, it's done for.
I'm not a helicopter pilot, Tim. Not anymore.
No, you're a bomb disposal expert.
Bomb disposal expert.
You don't know anything about it.
I got out of helicoptering. It was. I felt weird about hovering around all the time. Right. It's like you wanted. But if I saw black smoke and parts flying out of my helicopter, I'd be radioing my buddies going, we better get out of here on foot. We're
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now in Aliens, we have an evil corporation. In fact, it runs everything. It is the government, right? And in Army of the Dead, we have an evil corporation. And in fact, it's buddies with the government.
Yeah.
Because the army guys are standing right there. We have traitorous douche dude on site. in Aliens. He
Yep.
slips a face hugger into the room with Ripley.
Yep.
And in this case, we have Tratus Douche Dude, who starts offing anybody who suspects him, right?
He tries to.
Tries to, yeah. Well, he succeeds a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The big bad's baby gets torched. So in Aliens, all the eggs get torched, right?
Oh, that's right.
And in this one, the big bad guy's baby gets torched again. Okay. Showdown on the rescue ride. So they finally make it out of there. They finally get a ride. They're on their way out. It almost looks like they might even make it. And that is when the big bad manages to catch a ride and takes on the hero inside of the ride, beats the shit out of everything, and almost everybody dies. And that's my last point. Almost everyone dies.
Yeah. So a couple things. I think the clever thing is they kind of picked the whole alien trope and they kind of grabbed all the elements out of there, and then they added some of their own too.
They did, yes.
It was enough to kind of keep it interesting, and it was derivative enough, and they kind of disguised it enough that I think that you could call it mostly an original thing, but I really liked how it started. So the whole, if you're watching along with us now, and or you're listening along with us, and you've watched the movie, the whole zombie invasion started with, number one, I guess it came from Area 51 and some experiments, and they were transporting it somewhere. I don't know, but they had like the big bad guy zombie in a little container, and some Vegas newlyweds are getting it on in their vehicle on the highway, and that's what causes the zombie outbreak. Roadhead.
Yeah, Roadhead.
Crazy.
I kind of feel that the army was negligent. They used such a wimpy sea can for that bad guy. They could have done a little better. I mean, one crash and he just gets out.
It did have a one of those big swirly locks on the door, like one of those big spinny locks that looks really secure. Did. Like when I see those big spinny locks, I think that's way more secure than a shipping container that's got those like two bars on each door that are like almost impossible to close at the end of the day when you just want to go home and it's minus 25 and you got to lock your sea can.
Well, there's one thing that we've learned from various shows, including The Stand, is that whenever the army creates something like that, it's going to get out. So if it hadn't gotten out on the highway, it would have been getting out later.
Yeah. Yeah. They would have let it out in the Jurassic Park cage, and then we would have got a Jurassic Park movie. So this whole ploy, all the guys, they got to assemble their team. So we got the cool getting their team together montage trope that I really love. It's a fun one. And this is when we get to meet Tig Notaro, our helicopter pilot. That's like the second person they recruit, who has a really good scene where they tell her, like, yeah, you're going to make $2 million. And she's standing there smoking next to a refueling vehicle. Like she doesn't give a shit. Like she just wants to blow herself up. I just thought that was great. Anytime she's refueling something or handling fuel, she's always got a cigar in her mouth. And she's just more than happy to go along with this crazy shit, right? She just wants to do it. I got a good laugh out of her character. She was really great the whole time. And then when they actually get into the city and she just takes Scott aside and she's like, listen, you got to have a ranking here. Yeah, you got to triage people, right? Like I'm obviously the most important guy, and then the safe cracker, and then maybe you. But she's like, we could definitely kill that guy could die.
Yeah.
And she's like, that guy's here. I think we're incentivized to let him die. I was just laughing my head off. So that brings me to something I think they did that was kind of clever with this movie. Is they set up a few things, like a few movie tropes within the movie itself, and they kind of subvert them. So one of them is when you're watching any of the zombie movies, most of the ones in our list, there's always a human element to it where the human element just kind of like takes over for what's more important as a more important element to the story or a more important threat to the story than the zombies. And you realize that, well, okay, there's this existential threat outside, but what's actually going to kill us is not figuring out how to work together inside the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
In our own world. So they kind of set up that they're going to do that. And then like they go around and they got a number. I think it's like $250 million that they're going to steal, and this guy's going to take 50, and his cool lady friend is going to take 50, and then they start telling all the other people smaller and smaller amounts. So in your head, I'm thinking, well, they're setting this up that all these people are going to find out that they're not going to get as much money.
250,000, yeah.
Yeah, and then they get to the vault at the end and they open it up and everyone can see how much money's in there, and they're all just kind of grabbing it or whatever. And I guess they're not going to resolve who gets what money until much further after, but it never seems to be like a thing that materializes, which I thought was kind of cool, right? Everyone was just there going, yeah, cool, I'm going to get this money and yay. So they get in there, and then they do another really clever thing too, where they're getting into the bank vault and they have a scene where there's some dead bodies laying on the ground. And they have a lot of similar features to some of the people that are already in their party, right? Like there's the little locket or the little key hanging around one's neck, and the lady, I can't remember her name, Maria, she's got the same kind of key hanging around her neck. And then there's other ones with like a scarf around. And then the one guy there goes, look at these guys, they're us, like in another time loop where, we fight this whole thing and then we all die, and then we're all kind of stuck, fighting it again. Mm-hmm. And for a second there, you pause and go, holy shit, that's a really cool idea. Are they going to do that? And they don't. They just have this really cool character who's just thinking about this deep stuff, having conversations like, lunatics that would do this sort of thing would do, right? And then they had a couple of cool, I liked the greasy corporate guy, how he buys it in the end. Mm-hmm. Just getting torn apart by that tiger. My wife watching that show, she was so grossed out when it chewed his head right off that she actually screeched a little bit. So it was a fun one. And then the nuke trope. So I don't know. Have you ever watched a movie and you see something that you thought up or that you've thought of before, and then they do it in the movie and you're like, holy shit, why couldn't I do this in a movie? It would have been so cool. Mm-hmm. Well, this movie had one of those for me. I've always done kind of like, if I want to make people laugh or whatever, I have this joke that I'll kind of tell. Maybe I've told it to you before, but I always be like, the 4th of July rolls around every year. And I always say, what would be really cool on the 4th of July is if all those taxpayers that paid into the nuclear arms program for all these decades finally got to have like a little bit of a payoff. And they just took some of those bombs, instead of decommissioning them, threw them up in the upper atmosphere on the 4th of July, and just set some of them off to some cool tunes or whatever, right? Well, they do this in this movie. So I was laughing my head off because there's one part where they already announced that they're going to blow the city up. They're just got the city walled off. They're going to blow it up with a nuke. And this is a presidential order or whatever. And they have a little aside where they move the ticking clock of the bomb up from the 24-hour mark, where the people would be very safe, to a more immediate 1 hour and 30-minute mark, where they need to get the fuck out of there right now. Mm-hmm. And when they announce this on the news, they're like, yeah, the president said it would be, quote, pretty cool to have it go off on the 4th of July, but a little bit kind of, I can't remember how they phrased it. So he moved it up. He thought it would be cool to do, but it might make some people upset. So he moved it up a day. But I thought it was pretty cool. So I thought, there's something I thought in my head. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if they just did this on the 4th of July? And here they go. Someone else thought of that. So I don't know. I just, I had a good time watching that.
So the final scene. Are we going to really spoil this? We might as well.
We're going to spoil the shit out of it. Everyone's watched it by
now. One guy who got locked in the bank vault managed to escape somehow, got out of there. And at first you think, he's got radiation poisoning, right? That's what I thought. But then it turns out he's got a bite. Yeah. Now, I would assume that he is going to be the new Alpha if there's another one.
Well, he did get bitten by the Alpha.
And it took forever for him to turn.
Well, I thought about that because I heard some people griping about that. So in the context of the movie, we saw one guy get turned, which was the gross security guard asshole dude that was outside
The rapist, yeah.
yeah, the rapey guy. He got taken in there and he got turned by the alpha. But the alpha, when he turned that guy, he gave him quite a horrible wound. Like he bit his jugular right out. So this guy just got a little bite on the elbow or whatever as he was getting locked into the bank vault or fighting with that guy. So that one there, like I've seen a lot of people griping about how long that guy took to turn into a zombie or get to start feeling sick. And I could buy that. I could suspend that.
The radiation might have slowed it down too.
Yeah, you never know. There could be some reason for it, but that's in my head. That's what that's what I came up with. That's what song was playing. Did you like that song?
Yeah. Well, I've got 2 versions of that song on my playlist.
Do you? That was the other thing that stuck out at me was all the cool cover songs that they had on the soundtrack. Like it starts with the really cool Richard Cheese. Props to Richard Cheese. I love Richard Cheese. I don't know if you're a Richard Cheese guy.
No.
Not
sure who he is.
What? Oh, Tim, you're gonna have to get up to speed on Richard Cheese, buddy.
Give me a hint.
He's a treasure. Well, he's a guy. He's a singer. Do you got iTunes? Do you got Apple? How do you consume your music?
In various places. I have Spotify and iTunes.
Oh, well, any one of those, you just look up some Richard Cheese. So I heard about him he was in the Zack Snyder movie, 2004's Dawn of the Dead. He has a song called The Sickness or Down with the Sickness. I don't know. But it's what he normally does is he is a lounge singer. Okay. His name isn't really Richard Cheese. It's something else. But he has a lounge act, and what he does is he makes an album where it's like cover songs of all famous songs that usually with explicit lyrics, and he does them with
in lounge style.
Right? So he does like Chop Suey, he does Appetite or Welcome to the Jungle. He does like a Britney Spears one.
So I have heard his songs then.
Yeah, he just did a cover of WAP, which my kids tell me means waffles and pancakes.
I'm sure that's what it means.
But he's hilarious and I love him. And this year he showed up twice in 2 movies that we've watched. My wife thinks he's a complete piece of shit. And every time I play she doesn't think that. I make her sound way meaner than she is. But every time I play his music, she just gets mad at me and makes me shut it off. So he's actually showed up in 2 movies that we've liked this year. He was actually in Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. And then he showed up in this one too, and it was a lot of fun. And I really liked the Bad Moon Rising cover that they had, and then there was another one. I think it was The Doors, The End, that they had in this movie. Yeah, it was just kind of a.
I'll give this a listen. I'm looking at the Lord of the Swings.
Lord of the Swings. I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's the best of Richard Cheese.
Oh, well, holy shit! Oh, you're gonna love it. Enjoy. It's like a kind of a dirty Weird Al with a cheesy Vegas hook.
Just a little present for me. Thanks.
It's right up your alley. I know you'll like it. But yeah, what else do we got? We got a nice father-daughter subplot. I think that there's a couple things that I thought kind of fell flat for me, and one of them was the daughter kind of going to look for a friend. I could have done without that whole angle to the story. Like maybe if she would have got taken away and taken away by the guy or something like that at some point in the story, I think they could have done a better job kind of getting that whole thing to happen, where it wasn't someone that you really kind of, I don't know, like it sounds shitty, but her friend going in there for kind of, she wants to crack into a thing and get some money out so she can buy her way out with her kids. Like it's kind of you never see her again after that. So you get like a little aside of her. And then afterwards you find out that the daughter's going in for that friend or whatever. And yeah, I don't know. It was
she just vanishes. I didn't see what happened to her at the end. I assume
no,
she died.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. I assume she died too, but they never resolved that. So that was the second thing that I was going to say. is that at the end of the story, obviously you get kind of like the bittersweet, sad ending where not everyone lives and they don't get any goddamn money, and nobody's happy in the end. But
Well,
you
he
don't
did hand
find
her a
out.
little bit of money right at the very
Yeah,
end,
he got enough
didn't
to
he?
start the lobster roll van or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Otherwise known as buns. Rolls are just buns, okay?
Yeah, have you ever had a lobster roll though?
Yeah, but it's still a lobster bun.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound as good.
So, if you were going to have a father-daughter talk, I just really doubt that you'd pick that moment where a nuke is going to be bearing down on you anytime and you're standing in front of the generator that everybody else on the team is waiting for you to turn on. But you take 5 minutes of everybody's lives and risk them all being infected by zombies so that you can talk. I doubt it.
He was pouring the gas in while he was talking.
No, he stopped and they just turned and they didn't do anything for a little while.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, I thought he was pouring the gas in, just
Well,
talking.
he was at first, but yeah. There was no sense of urgency there. I personally, I would have talked to my daughter at a different time, but
why wouldn't have taken her into the zombie city? I would have made her not do that. As well, I don't know. You can't make kids do anything these days, but I would have strongly suggested she not follow me into the zombie city where she would inevitably die, and I would inevitably die too. What did you think of the new zombies, the alpha zombie?
Well, they reminded me of I Am Legend. They're more like vampires.
Fuck, Tim, you did it. The one thing I asked you not to do is bring up that movie.
Oh well.
I'm not talking.
We don't have to go any farther into it because that's a vampire movie. So
yeah, don't get you. Okay, we're gonna talk about Army of the Dead.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Army of the Dead. So they remind you of a different movie, but you think they worked? Do you think it was a cool concept?
It was kind of cool, but I'm not sure. They had something to them. The majority of them were just, you didn't see a lot of most of them, right? They were just the two main ones that they had forefront there.
Yeah, there were some other ones that were kind of like disposable in the hallway fight scenes and all that stuff, where it was just like, there was one who he was wearing some really sweet track pants. He must have been like a Russian mobster in Vegas before he died, and he was doing some sweet spin kicks and ninja moves and shit like that. But he was wearing those sweet like Russian mobster track pants,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that guy. And a lot of ripped zombies in this. They were like 300 zombies where it's like they had like crazy abs. I was watching all these zombies thinking, I should do some sit-ups or something.
Well, maybe the virus just pumps you up.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There'd be a lot of people going, put that shit in me. I want zombie virus. I want abs. I'll take the flesh eating. A lot of gross eating scenes in this too. What was the grossest scene for you?
The grossest scene probably was close to the beginning where a zombie was created by ripping his bottom jaw off.
Oh, yeah, that was tough.
And then if you think that poor dude has to live as a zombie / vampire for the rest of his existence with no jaw, pretty rough.
Yeah, he's just kind of like gumming people to death, right? How do you bite someone with just your top teeth?
Yeah, ineffectively.
You gotta kind of headbutt them.
Yeah,
that'd suck. So the opening credit sequence, what'd you think of that?
Pretty good.
There are two really cool Zack Snyder opening credit sequences. To me, this is number 2. So he did one for the movie Watchmen, which was like phenomenal. It was just phenomenal, that whole thing. I think it stands up as one of my favorite opening credit movie sequences ever. But this one comes pretty close. They got enough cool stuff and they show you enough backstory in here where you can kind of jump into the movie, just kind of, already piecing together what's going on here. Yeah, I don't know. That was a really fun part. It got some good laughs too. I liked when the stripper zombies went to grab that guy in the hallway and they grabbed his head and they pulled his toupee off.
Oh yeah.
And he kept going. They eventually caught up with him in the hot tub. The mom and the daughter getting squished by the sea cans or the shipping containers or whatever. That was rough. It kind of turns dark in the end, but it starts out, darkly funny. Yeah, I don't know. We've kind of touched all the bases here, man.
Yeah.
A fun time.
So, everyone, watch it.
Give it a shot. It was
if you have watched it, why don't you leave us a comment?
Yeah, let us know what you thought of Army of the Dead. Do we still have an email address?
I'm not sure. You were in charge of that.
Was I? Well, I might have been.
Maybe we do.
Well, I don't know. I should really get on that.
I guess we could leave a link of some sort in the show notes, right? Here's what we'll do. We'll leave a link for an email and we'll leave a link for the voice messages.
Well, last time everyone listened to me subscribing to my own podcast, so that was embarrassing. And now they're listening to me talk about how I haven't even. There's probably like 50 people have wrote in some stuff, being like, "Come on, man, answer my shit. I gave you a great idea," and I'm like, "Huh? I don't know anything. I just work here, man." Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna check it out right now. Look at this. Unreliable Narrator 2019 at gmail.com. I've got the password saved and everything.
Did you say that was Unreliable Narrator 2019 at gmail.com?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, well, there you go. Send us an email.
We
promise we will even look at it more than once a year.
Yeah, and we're gonna, what we're gonna do is if you leave us. I really liked last time we had a couple of nice comments about our last show on. Was that from? How'd that get
directly
left?
On Anchor?
How do
so
people
there is a link
this?
On Anchor where you can just leave a message using your phone or whatever. So we will include that link in the show notes.
Well, there we go. I'm actually signing into the email right now. I'm gonna just before we go, Tim. Just before it's been a slice, I'm going to just see if we've got any email here, and we're gonna. Oh my God, Tim, we've got no email.
So no matter what, we were gonna feel bad. We were gonna feel bad if there was emails there that we never answered from like last year.
Yeah, I felt bad for nothing. I think there's an email from you. It's dated 2019. Okay, well, I'm going to check this tomorrow.
This is sad, people. We need some emails. Help us out here.
Hit some emails. If you want to leave a comment, do it. We like all this stuff, and we'd like to have an idea here about what you guys want to talk about. Maybe you want to come on and talk to us. Maybe that's a thing you want to do. We might do it. We've talked to a lot of people.
Yeah, we'll even talk to you.
We might even talk to you. It depends. You just do it, and we'll do it. We'll talk to you, bud. Come on. I think he was saying bud in the movie, so now I'm saying bud.
Okay, well, I think we've definitely bashed that movie and promoted it at the same time.
Do you want to talk about what do you want to do next time, Tim? Do you want to talk about I Am Legend? I don't.
No, we'll skip that one for now.
Oh, thank God.
I want to talk about Idiocracy.
All right, you're on. We'll do it.
Okay, well, it's been a slice.
Tim, it has been a slice. Until next time, my friend.
Yep.
We'll talk later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. We're going to feel really bad in about 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh my God, come on.